quarterback Penn State has ever had, plus a rugged, experienced defense. These were the Nittany Lions' strong suits at the beginning of 1972. Bruce Bannon, Greg Duquette, Buddy Ellis, Jim Heller, Jim Loslovic, and John Scorpin led the returning defenders. The forecast, another typical Penn State defense. There were, however, several question marks on offense. Graduation had taken its toll. John Hufnagel continued at quarterback. He was the leader and an All-America candidate. Carl Shakowicz returned to lead the downfield blocking. And Albert Vitiello to kick. But could converted defensive back John Capoletti fill the shoes of running greats Lydell Mitchell and Franco Harris? Could blockers be found to replace Bob Knechtel, Dave Joyner, and Mike Botts? Were Dan Natale and the other young receivers ready for the heat of competition? Nobody really knew what kind of a year it would be. It was up to a group of 10 men to find some answers. These are the Penn State coaches. The best staff I can imagine, says Joe Paterno. It is their job to blend young, inexperienced talent with seasoned veterans and come up a winner.
1, 2. Okay, now cut.
It is a dedicated and creative staff, instilling not only fundamentals, but pride.
React.
Each man with an area of responsibility, and each man a teacher.
You're cheating, John, because you started at him. All right? You start up the alley, right at the target on the angle, get up into it there, and then react on what you see.
The key to it all, learn it properly now, and enjoy the rewards on Saturday.
Come on, that's all. Okay, now look for the ball. That's the idea.
Excellent, Brian. That's what we have to have. We're going to hang that ball up high.
Stay wide, Joe. Stay wide. Ah, man, that's lousy.
The groundwork accomplished here will show results in October and November. No team is any better than its coaches. At Penn State, this is where a winning season begins. Started at Tennessee. Anybody who remembered 1971 knew the opener wouldn't be easy. It was Tennessee's second game of the season, Penn State's first. The Volunteers were ready for their Eastern visitors and led 21-0. Penn State nearly pulled it out with a brilliant second-half comeback. Jimmy Scott burned up 69 yards with a John Hufnagel pass. And Huffy speared sophomore Dan Natale for yet another score. The effort was valiant, but it fell short by 7 points. Penn State was 0-1. Dreams of a perfect season vanished. But hopes of a successful season still could be fulfilled. The team couldn't let down.
We all realized that we couldn't let this game be our whole season. We had to pull together and try to make as much of the season as we could.
Navy was next. The fired-up Lions were ready to attack. A pair of third-quarter drives broke open a tight game. The men up front blocked hard and long. And John Hufnagel found that sophomore Dan Natale, number 89, was becoming a key receiver. John Capoletti scored the go-ahead touchdowns. Defensively, John Scorpin was named Associated Press Lineman of the Week. Number 81 rocked Navy with 15 unassisted tackles. No matter what tactics the midshipmen tried, they couldn't stop the senior linebacker from Beaver. In the dying moments, Scorpin's interception clinched the much-needed victory.
Running in for the touchdown, I just couldn't remember just trying to get there before those guys caught me. It seemed like the play took a long time to develop, but I guess it was only a split second, but all I can remember is reading the quarterback's eyes, and I thought for a second it was going to be a quick in. And he looked outside, and I just took a few steps out, and he threw it, and I just dove up for the ball. That's a big play of a game, you know, trying to turn the ball game around with an interception or a block punt or anything like that. You know, come up with a big play to score some points for the team.
The final was 21-10, and the competition was getting tougher. For the third straight game, Penn State could not score in the first half. The mistakes puzzled the state coaches. Iowa led 3-0 in the fourth period when one play seemed to revitalize the Lion offense. Gary Heyman flashed some daring moves, and the blue and white came alive. Dan Nittany held on to a clutch pass, and John Cappelletti followed blocks by Charlie Getty and Carl Shakowicz. State led 7-3 in the fourth quarter. But Iowa was not finished. The Hawkeyes regained the lead with 3 minutes to play. Time was running out as the 57-station Penn State Radio Network listened to Fran Fisher describe those final tense moments.
And Penn State is first and 10 at its 20-yard line, 80 yards away, and trailing 10-7. And Hufnagel is immediately back to pass. Throws complete to Heyman at the 15. He's at the 20, the 25. He's at the 30 and out to the 35-yard line. They're fourth and a yard and a half, and they're going to go for it. Hufnagel keeps, pitches to Cappelletti. He's at the 45, the 50, the 45, the 40, the 35, the 30 and down to the 25. And that was the best option play of the year for John Hufnagel. Hufnagel has him set. Huffy looking, pulls out, pitches to Heyman. Heyman's at the 25, the 20, the 15, and down to the 12. John Hufnagel has a 3rd and 3 just inside the 5. He's got him in a tight formation. And he gives to Cappelletti, and Cappelletti has the first down at the 1, but flags on the play. Illegal procedure is the call against Penn State. Marked back to the 10-yard line, where it'll be 3rd down and 8 yards to go. 42 seconds left. Iowa 10, Penn State 7. Hufnagel back to pass. Looks, throws for Nittany. Touchdown! John Hufnagel with great protection rolled out of that pocket and lofted it to Nittany.
I thought for an instant Hufnagel was going to try to run in with the ball. I saw Nittany down there. I hope he did.
Before this, we were a little shaky. We were making the fumbles and making interceptions, and we were a young team, and I think it was a maturing process that we had to go through, and I think making this drive and winning this game gave us the confidence that we needed to finish the season in good shape.
2 narrow victories behind them, the Lions needed a strong overall performance at Illinois, and they got it. Many questions were answered on that sunny Saturday in Champaign. The Fighting Illini attacked every way possible, but junior linebacker Ed O'Neill fired up the state defense with 10 tackles and a vital interception. John Hufnagel's rollout passing tormented the enemy. Scott Skarzinski's diving catch set up a touchdown by a hard-working fullback, Bob Nagel. It was Penn State's initial first-half score of the season. Exactly 60 seconds later, John Cappelletti took off on a beautiful 53-yard burst. It was the longest run of the season for the tailback from Upper Darby. The Lions were showcasing their big play offense. Huck Hurd leaped under a Hufnagel bomb, and Penn State had 21 first-quarter points. Along about this time, people began to understand what Joe Paterno meant when he said, John Hufnagel was the best quarterback in Penn State history. The Lions scored 35 points at Illinois. They were developing into a poised, well-balanced team, a team in the Penn State tradition. Defense, as one philosophy goes, is what you have to play when you don't have the ball. But at Penn State, defense is how you win when you don't own the ball. Army and Syracuse did not score on the Lions' defense. Army crossed midfield only once. Its total offense was unbelievably less than 100 yards. The consecutive shutouts brought memories of other stingy Penn State defensive units, and this 1972 version ranked with the best. The only bright spot for Army was that John Hufnagel wouldn't be back next year. Number 16 quarterbacked his first college game 2 years ago at Army. It marked the beginning of a long run of success for Huffy and Penn State. Playing less than 3/4 of the game, Hufnagel hit for 12 of 18 passes and accounted for 233 total yards, including a payoff pitch to Dan Nittany. So, a week later, Syracuse concentrated on stopping John Hufnagel and opened the doors for the inside running of John Cappelletti. Cappy's gaudy statistics showed 163 yards rushing. Cappelletti and Hufnagel made headlines in a 17-0 victory, and with back-to-back shutouts, the defenders shared those headlines.
Once we shut out those two teams, we felt very confident about our running game, our defense of the running game. We shut out two fine running teams with big bags, but we looked ahead to West Virginia, and of course you had to get a little bit psyched up because you go down there and you're going to find a stadium filled with very enthusiastic West Virginia fans, and it's a great feeling.
The trip to Mountaineer country would provide a vital test for the Lions. Leading 7-0, West Virginia put the ball in the air, but State's Randy Crowder intercepted. And set up a picture-perfect pass. Hufnagel to Dan Nittany. The Lions' offense was clicking. A well-executed screen pass to Ken Andrews surprised the Mountaineers. Penn State hasn't lost to West Virginia in 17 years. The frustration was building at Morgantown, and John Scorpion's block punt chilled the home team. It resulted in a 2-point safety, and the following free kick from the 20 really hurt the Mountaineers. John Cappelletti rammed it through West Virginia's defense to the 1. Another of those West Virginia-Penn State controversial plays followed. Bob Nagel lost the ball in the teeth of the enemy defense, but it was ruled he had possession as he crossed the goal line. It took a little debating, but it was Nittany Lion touchdown. The 25-6 margin was misleading. The dangerous Mountaineers narrowed the gap to just 6 points, 25-19, late in the third period. They continued to chip away and had first and goal at the 7. It was here that Penn State dug in with a heart-stopping goal line stand. Four unsuccessful tries inside the 7. The poised Lions had held. Now, it was up to John Hufnagel to guide a ball control offense, keep the charged-up Mountaineers on defense. Huffy did the job. Penn State was glued to the football 11 minutes of the final period. State's all-time kick-scoring leader, senior Albert Vitiello, clinched the victory. A big one for Penn State.
That's toward the end of the game, when the score was really close. There's a lot of points put on the board. We were able to keep that ball. And as a result, we won that one, and I like to credit that to the offensive line.
Four games remained. The Maryland clash turned into an aerial circus with John Hufnagel shattering 3 passing records. Jimmy Scott was a sure-fingered target as the Lions threw for more yardage than in any previous game in history. Hufnagel rewrote Galen Hall's single-game total offense and passing records and became the school's all-time career passing king. Needless to say, Penn State whipped Maryland, scoring 46 points, including this touchdown catch by senior Bob Rickenback. Against North Carolina State, the young offensive line showed its maturity, giving Hufnagel unyielding protection. Bill Laporta, Jr. Mark Markovich, Jr. Jack Bayrunas, sophomore. Carl Shakowicz, senior. Charlie Getty, Jr. A solid aggressive unit that got the job done. On offense, the Lions roared for 37 points, while the defense stopped one of the nation's top scoring machines. The victory ended North Carolina State's 5-game winning streak. Penn State was now 8-1, and the major bowl scouts were knocking at Joe Paterno's door. Assured of its 34th consecutive non-losing season, Penn State continued an offensive flourish at Boston College. Jimmy Scott scooted 76 yards with a Hufnagel bomb. And number 16, on his way to All-America honors, hung up a new state single-game total offense mark, 363 yards. 57 of them were on this run, behind Carl Shakowicz's block. After whipping Boston College, the Lions accepted a Sugar Bowl bid. Penn State continued its reign as best in the East with a 49-point lacing of Pittsburgh. John Hufnagel threw or ran for 21 touchdowns in 1972, 3 coming against the Panthers. Gary Heyman's punt return was an exciting highlight. State wound up with a 10-1 record, ranked 5th in the final regular season poll, and was rewarded with a visit to New Orleans for the Sugar Bowl. It was the Lions' 5th trip to a major bowl in the last 6 years. In second-ranked Oklahoma, Penn State would be facing as awesome an overall team as there was in college football. All-America Bruce Bannon knew it would not be easy.
The members of the team feel that we're playing a great football team. But we think that we're also a great football team, and we've worked really hard with the goal of winning this game. And we all think that we will win this game, even though we know it'll be a tough one.
Bannon led a brilliant Penn State defense. It was up against the nation's top running attack. The defensive unit struggled under added pressure as the offense played without one of the nation's leading rushers, tailback John Cappelletti, sidelined with the flu. Without Cappelletti's ball control power running, the defense spent a lot of time on the field. Oklahoma won 14-0. Joe Paterno said the Sooners were the toughest Penn State opponents since unbeaten Michigan State in 1966. For the 5th time in the last 6 years, the Lions finished in the top 10. This team had started out young. It matured and played with traditional Penn State pride. Jim Heller, a 3-year starter, co-captained the rugged defense.
This year the offense didn't score as many points as they did last year. The defense sort of had a little more pressure on us.
Anchored by Heller, State's defense gave up less than 115 rushing yards per game, a better record than the fabled 1969 defense. As a unit, they caused 20 fumbles and picked off 17 passes. And senior Jim Leslovic, number 47, had his nose in on a lot of the turnovers, as did seniors Steve Davis, number 24, and Larry Ludwig, number 45. There were 2 All-Americans on the Nittany Lion defense. One was senior John Scorpin, another in a long, talented list of superb linebackers. Scorpin's greatest asset was his quickness. He made 9 interceptions and over 270 tackles during his 3-year career. Just watch number 81, John Scorpin. Bruce Bannon also won All-America honors. Bannon, number 83, a vicious tackler, was honored as a scholar athlete by the National Football Foundation and Hall of Fame and won an NCAA postgraduate scholarship. Bruce typified Penn State's philosophy of academic and athletic excellence. Co-captain with Jim Heller of this hard-hitting defense was Greg Duquette, number 35, an All-East selection. This senior had the rare distinction of playing in the Orange, Cotton, and Sugar Bowls during his college days. Greg Duquette knew this Penn State team was a close-knit unit in and out of uniform.
I think all the ball players respect one another, and there's a general feeling of almost of love and kindness in the team. You know what your teammates can do, and you know that they respect you as you do them. And it makes you feel proud to participate in a team like this.
The offensive line was led by co-captain and All-East guard, Carl Shakowicz, number 69. He cleared the path for many a Lion score. A senior from McKees Rocks, Shakowicz was an honor student in mechanical engineering. One who benefited most from Shakowicz's blocking was his roommate, quarterback John Huffnagel. Huffy's running and passing won him first-team All-America honors and 16 Penn State game, season, and lifetime records. The daring senior from Coriopolis guided the Lions to 26 wins, losing only 3 during his 3 years at quarterback. But most important, co-captain John Huffnagel was a leader whose compelling force was a fierce desire to win. The best quarterback in the country, says Coach Joe Paterno of John Huffnagel. Perhaps togetherness best described this 1972 team. it never gave up. It played and won as a unit. It was the pride of the East. But what about 1973? Will the Lions' success continue? Penn State is expecting another big season from Buddy Ellis. Number 18 led the team in interceptions this year and has been a 2-year starter. Linebacker Ed O'Neill topped the Lions in tackles. Number 87 will be back next year. And Dave Graff has 2 more years to harass enemy quarterbacks. Number 53, Randy Crowder, quick and active, is a big play tackle. These returning starters will be joined by Doug Allen, Tom Hull, and Jack Konashevsky to form the nucleus of an aggressive defense in 1973. 4 interior blockers led by veteran Charlie Getty rejoin the Lions next season, as do a group of fleet receivers: Jimmy Scott, Chuck Hurd, Dave Bland, and Gary Heyman. Penn State's leading receiver, Dan Natale, was only a sophomore. The Lions' third 1,000-yard rusher ever was John Cappelletti, a strong back with surprising speed. Teamed with returning fullback Bob Nagel, Cappelletti should be one of college football's premier runners in 1973. But just as important to Penn State football is another man's return. Pro football beckoned with an attractive offer, but Penn State meant too much to Joe Paterno.
When I analyzed the situation here at Penn State and realized that I've always hoped that I could work in an atmosphere on a campus where the approach by the administration towards athletics was such that I could be a little bit more than just a football coach, and that's what Penn State's allowed me to be. I have had an opportunity to work with young people and have an influence on their lives. I think that was the overriding factor in my decision, the fact that this is such a healthy atmosphere. We walked up that Sugar Bowl field New Year's Eve night with a good look, and I felt as if, well, we still had a lot to do and that there were some great challenges left. As you know, I've said many times that I've had a dream that Penn State could be the greatest in everything, whether it was a library, whether it was a soccer team, whatever it may be, and I feel that I can still make some kind of a contribution to some of those goals, and the challenge of that here is what's kept me. As I suppose if I summed it up, I just feel Penn State's too good a place to live.